Hey guys, Jacob here. I thought I'd try to just hammer this out real quick because I just saw this article on IGN. They're reporting that uh, basically the way that the Disney sequel trilogy turned out was pretty close to what George Lucas gave to them in his treatments for the sequel trilogy. Even though they turned down those treatments and didn't want to work with him. Anyway, what they're saying now is not only that there was going to be a teen girl as the main character in the sequel trilogy, but also that Luke Skywalker was supposed to die in the eighth movie, which is really interesting. It's really bizarre to see the way that these completely paradoxical narratives coexist like this, and then people just seem to go along with it. I mean, maybe this is true. Like maybe it is true that like what they're saying, the new trilogy was influenced by George Lucas's treatments. Okay, that might be true. But if that is true, then episode 8 can't be Ryan Johnson's special like artistic deviation, or like it can't be this unique sort of auteur thing that he did. And it certainly can't also be that there was no plan for the trilogy, right? Those things don't mash up together at all. So yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to, from what I can tell, is back in the day when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, George Lucas, or at least sometime after that, George Lucas was not in good standing with the fans because of just the backlash from the prequel movies and the effect that that had on the franchise. So what Lucasfilm and Disney did was they kind of distanced them after the initial acquisition. Uh, After a certain point, definitely once Episode 7 was coming out, they distanced themselves from George Lucas, and they made it clear that they rejected George Lucas's treatments, and that he had a plan for the trilogy, and they turned it down because they wanted to do their own thing. Okay, but that was then, and this is now, and Disney and Lucasfilm have completely screwed up, and so now they have to. It looks to me almost like they are paving the way to bring George Lucas back. I mean, isn't that what it is? Because they're doing two different things. One thing is that they're making it seem like there was a plan, and what they did was influenced by George Lucas's treatment, and so they were trying to follow that. And it also kind of makes it seem like it's not entirely their fault. I mean, if you really think about it, it kind of displaces the blame a little bit when they explain that their intentions were to be true to something that somebody else was doing. If that makes any sense. So, but also what it does is it paves the way to bring George Lucas back and to completely change the narrative and make it seem like they've been wanting to work with him. Doesn't it though? I mean, otherwise, why would you say that George Lucas was already a de facto part of the way that the sequel trilogy turned out? I think they're going to bring him back. I think that's what they're trying to say here, is that they want to bring him back. But again, that's confusing. It's like, again, they're saying that what they did was influenced by George Lucas's treatments. But what they're also saying is that they turned down those treatments and didn't want to work with him. But in addition to that, they're saying that, that they didn't have a plan, but they did because they were following the treatments. I mean, what is this? What is this? Like, because no way. I mean, going off of what Ryan Johnson was saying and his attitude toward fans and his idea of what he was creating, there's no way that he did what he did with Luke's character, or the fact that everything was planned out basically the way that George Lucas was going to do it anyway. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Think about it. Why would Ryan Johnson's attempt to subvert the genre be exactly, coincidentally the same as what George Lucas was going to do? Because the article goes on to describe, like, with Luke Skywalker being disenfranchised and everything. By the way, the fact that he's disenfranchised is fine. It's the way that it was handled that makes it bad. Like, you literally, if you changed a couple of lines or tweaked a couple of things, it would have completely solved it, because this is a bit of a, let me just divert a little bit here, to just say this real quick. If Luke Skywalker in the 8th film, instead of out of nowhere trying to kill his own nephew, had decided to spare his nephew because he believed in the good of people, because of his prior experiences with Darth Vader and his inherent belief in the good in people and the power that people have to be redeemed, right? If he tried to save his nephew, but then because of his own naivety, his nephew killed a bunch of people, and in that sense it was Luke's fault, instead of being Luke's fault because he basically acted based on dark side, because he got paranoid, was like, oh no, I have to kill my own freaking nephew, right? Like, if you literally just flipped that a little bit and made it so that now Luke is actually, like, re-examining his worldview, but from a way that actually makes sense considering what happened, like it literally just a tiny little tweaks that would have made it a more competent story, that would have actually made it make sense, instead of betraying the sort of malice that Ryan Johnson seems to have for the whole genre. I mean, the Luke Skywalker thing wasn't the whole problem with The Last Jedi, but I mean, it's a big factor. There's lots of problems, but I mean, the reaction would not have been nearly so bad if important key details like that with Luke's character had been completely overlooked, that otherwise would have completely altered the way the story. It's just ignoring facts that, like, fans and anybody who's been keeping up with the consistency and coherency of these characters would know to be true. Anyway, so the point is, I guess, that Disney is scared, and they are falling back to the things that people believe will be nostalgic and familiar, and they think, for some reason, though perhaps it may be true, perhaps not, that George Lucas is going to be able to save the franchise. That would be my guess. That's what I'm thinking about it. It may be something of a long shot just based on this new information, but I don't know. I see patterns. The fact that they're circulating this to me, especially considering that they have disavowed any connection of George Lucas to the sequel trilogy in the past, that now they're saying this. I don't know. There's got to be a reason. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. That actually went a little bit longer than I thought I was going to, and I rambled a little bit, but whatever. That's just kind of what I thought. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.